Hello, hi, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, everyone, depending on which part of the world you're joining us from. Welcome to the IBM Developer Series. Every week we have Security Tuesdays, Data Science and AI Wednesdays, Cloud Native and Red Hat OpenShift Thursdays. And today is a Wednesday, so we'll be having a data science and AI-based use case. And our use case today is visualizing data to generate interactive charts and graphs to discover insights. My name is Fawaz Siddiqi, and I'm a developer advocate at IBM UAE. And with me, I have my colleague Mridul Bhandari, who's also a developer advocate at IBM UAE. In case, before we start, some housekeeping. There's a survey link on the right side of the screen, which you can always answer to let us know how we did, and what would you like to see in our future webinars. And also, you can get started here using the link right there to sign up for IBM Cloud for our hands-on session today. Before we start, I'd also like to talk about and take some time and talk about Call for Code. So Call for Code is a yearly challenge with IBM, and it's featured on skill building, connecting with the community, and using tech for good to fight real-world problems for social good and producing ideas to actions. There's a there's a grand prize of $200,000, and you can get started at developer.ibm.com/call for code. And moreover, we'll be talking about it further in the presentation itself. So today's agenda is very straightforward, very nice. We're going to talk about air pollution. We're going to talk about how data is a part of our life. What is data visualization, Cognos dashboards, and then it'll be followed by a hands-on session and some useful links. So air pollution. Right now, climate change is a very big thing in the market. Every day, the Earth's atmosphere is increasing. So harmful chemicals in the air are always there, and they actually damage us. They damage our lungs, they damage everything around us. They have damaged the ozone layer as well. But one thing is that it also reacts with water, contaminating the water. Moreover, with air pollution, there's also causes of acid rain. And once there's acid rain, it destroys the agriculture and leads to a food shortage. And moreover, like I mentioned, it adds on to the climate change as well. So air pollution is linked to many of the climate issues which we face on our day-to-day lives, and this has been a very active research as well. And that's what we'll be working on our hands-on today. Mridul will be talking further about it in our hands-on session. So what is data actually? So data is useful information generated from a process, and data can actually come in from various sources. This could be a sensor, this could be audio, video, it could be text, it could be readings from a thermometer. And what does data exactly do? It's all talking about facts and statistics. And you find data everywhere. Since 2020, or I'd actually go back to 2019. Since 2019, data has been increasing at a very fast pace. And the more data we generate, the more facts and figures are we getting about various use cases, and it's actually helping us to solve problems in our day-to-day lives. And data is actually everywhere. Now, for example, some very generalized examples here. It's Netflix provides personalized recommendations. So based on what movies you've watched in the past, it gives you recommendations based on that data. It gives you based on genre maybe, or maybe in terms of how much you rated it, if you liked it or not. Then Waze, which is a personalized, it's like a GPS for your phone. It provides a personalized driver's experience. It allows you to see who are the drivers around, and it also provides you with personalized routes towards your destination. And something which is very much heavy right now in terms of data is self-driving cars. Self-driving cars are always actually collecting data, and based on the conditions which they face, they are able to analyze it and import it into their algorithm and actually react to changing conditions. And more or less, I'd also like to mention online ads. Let's say, for example, if you're buying something online, you've bought it, and then it starts showing you recommendations. That itself is a part of data. And data visualization is actually the pictorial or graphical format of actually visualizing data. And It's able to show you what the data is trying to speak and helps the stakeholders understand what is the pattern of the data, or what the data is actually trying to speak to you. What is the maybe, let's say, the facts the data is providing you, which could be useful for you to identify new patterns and trends as well. So why do we actually use data visualizations? Now let's talk about the fact that we all are humans and we all are visual creatures. So if I tell you a statistic verbally, you will not really understand it. You will go like, what are you exactly saying to me? But if I show you a visual representation of that data, it's going to be a very different experience for you. You will understand the data more in a proper way. And charts and graphs can be actually processed faster by the human brain because it's a visual interaction between us and the data which we are actually seeing right now. And the value of visualization, it actually helps us to identify 5 things. First of all, relationships, correlations, distributions, patterns, and dependence. So as you can see on our right side, we have storytelling, data, and strategic insights. Based on all of these 3 things, all of these 3 things are actually connected with the help of data visualization. Once you have the data, every data has a type of story to tell you. And that story also provides you with strategic insights. Now, once we combine all 3 of them together, we get a data visualization, which is telling us a story, giving us insights, and also telling us about what the data is trying to speak to us. So there are many types of visualizations which we tend to use. And there are 4 types, basically. And in those 4 types, there are many subsections. So let's go ahead with let me switch on my pointer so we know where I am. So let's go ahead with the comparison charts. This could be over time for time series data, and that could be based on line charts towards bar charts or towards something of line charts with multiple categories. And we also have among items. So if you're actually comparing among items and comparing data among items, you can go for vertical bar charts or bar chart horizontal, which is actually comparing our data. And as you can see, these vary in terms of category and how many variables you have. Then there's also distribution. Distribution can be based on a single variable where we are dealing with a bar histogram or line histogram. Or if you have more than 1 variables, let's say 2 variables, you can actually plot a scatter plot to understand your data further. Now, composition, it's basically either statistic or changing over time. So let's say how much of the land has been affected by let's say infected water or bad water which is not drinkable and has destroyed crops. This could be changing over time. So here we would use a stacked area chart, a bar chart, to actually realize and see how much of the land has been actually affected. There's also static compositions, and here you can actually use the pie chart or tree map to actually highlight those issues. Moreover, we also have relationship charts, and this can be based on 2 variables. Like I mentioned, if you have 2 variables, scatter plot is your way to go. And you can see that here it will mark out the variables for you so you know what is affecting the final output in the data. If you have 3 or more variables, you can go for a scatter plot bubble space, and that way you will have a bubble chart based on all those variables and seeing how the data is affecting the entire output of your scenario. So how do we actually create dashboards? So on IBM Cloud, we have a tool, Ibm Cognos Dashboard embedded. It's basically a visualization tool. It allows you to explore data, create dynamic visualization. It's a very easy to use interface, and basically it's all drag and drop. You import your data set, you see the columns, you drag and drop the columns onto your canvas, and right after that, it starts generating charts for you, which are recommended based on your data. It's very smart, very simple, and very easy to go. And the workshop use case today, which we are going to talk about, it's actually visualizing air pollutants and understand the AQI levels and measure the various pollutants which are involved in the air. This will actually give us a lot of insight towards how the air is how the air is actually affecting us. And we'll be using two technologies here today. One is Watson Studio, the other one is Cognos Dashboard. And Mridul, I'll be sending it over to you for the hands-on session.
Thank you, Fawaz. Just let me share my screen. Uh, so let me know when you can see my screen. And yeah, so I hope you can see my screen right now. If at any point you feel my screen is not clear or you're not able to follow the steps, do let us know in the chat, and we will try to reiterate and go back to the steps and reiterate it for you. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I hope you're all safe and doing well. So, I'll be taking over to the hands-on session for today's lab, and these are the following links I want you to, take a note
Take a
of,
note
and
of.
Fawaz will share them in the chat, and you can go ahead and sign up for the IBM Cloud account, and you can get the GitHub repository, and you can access the slides using these links. So, Fawaz, can you please share the links in the chat? So, to begin with, what we'll do is we'll try to understand what the data set looks like, the data set you're working on. So, what I'll open the data set for you. Just a minute. Yeah. So, I hope my screen is visible and clear, and I'll zoom in a bit so that you're able to, see everything properly. Yeah. So, first, does this look fine?
Looks fine, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So as you can see over here, so this is a data set which consists of around 900 plus records. And these 900 records, we have various features. So as Fawaz mentioned, in our today's use case, we would be, focusing on air pollution. So this data set basically, it monitors the data for a region on a particular date, and it tries to, measure the pollutants on that day, and or the measure of those pollutants, and what is the key pollutant, and what was the weather and the temperature like. So there's also AQI, which is the air quality index. So if the air quality index is between so and so range, it would be, the level would be good. If it goes a bit above, it would be slightly polluted. Above that, it would be medially polluted, and over there it would be severely polluted, and the lowest being excellent. And that is what we aim for. We want the uh, level to be excellent, because that means the pollution is the least, and the AQI is the lowest, AQI. Then we have various pollutants. So like we have PM25, which is particulate matter 2.5. Then we have particulate matter 10. The 2.5 and 10 is just the difference between the sizes in the microbes. So they're basically the same thing, but both of them play a, both of them are measured separately because they play a key role in, reducing the visibility. So if one of these two is higher, they would reduce the visibility a lot. And this also means that pollution is high. So we have these various pollutants. So like we have PM25, PM10, then SO2, then we have CO, carbon monoxide, then nitrogen dioxide, then we have ozone layer, the ozone gas, and then sulfur dioxide. So then over here you have the key pollutants which are mentioned over here. Then next you have the weather. So this was taken at two different times. This data was recorded at two different times. So you take the weather during both those times. Then what is the temperature during those two times, and whether on that particular date it rained or not. So it's a yes or no, 0 or 1. 0 means no, and 1 means yes. And then you have group categorize the weather. So they have grouped the weather, and they have put it in 1, 2, 3, 4. So they have grouped it numerically, and they have categorized, and they have put the numbers over here. Then you have the temperature mean, the mean temperature. So you have the two recordings of the temperature, and the mean was taken from this. Then you have taken the range. So over what range it was spreading. What is the difference between the degree Celsius during that course of time. Then you have the humidity, which is the mean of the humidity. Then the minimum value and the maximum value. Uh, then we have the pressure on that particular day, and then wind speed mean, the minimum wind speed and the maximum wind speed. So these are the various features and attributes which have been recorded on that particular date. And using this, we'll try to understand what we'll try to create a visualize this data, and try to create a graph where, or dashboard, in a way where we could represent this data in a very simpler format. So I'll show you what we would be preparing today. So we would be preparing a dashboard like this from the data we had. So it's just a simple dashboard with 4 graphs, And this is better than giving a data set with 900 records, as this helps us easily get insights and understand what the data is trying to tell us, because the end goal is not the what the data is, it's to understand what the insight it provides and what story we're trying to tell from this data. So before we get started, what I'd like to do is, you can go ahead and Fawaz has shared the link in the chat for the GitHub repository, that is ibm.biz/dataviz/github. You can go over there and you can download this code, download this repository. So once you download this repository, to download this repository, you'll have a green button over here, as you can see my screen. So you can either download the zip and unzip it, or if you have GitHub Desktop, you can open it with GitHub Desktop, or you could copy this command line command, and you could paste this and clone the repository. Now, the choice is yours. You could go ahead with any of the ways which you find the best for you, and make sure you have downloaded this repository now, because the data set we want to use is present over here, the CSV file. That's weather.csv. Uh, Next, what I want you to do is sign up for IBM Cloud. So go over to the IBM Cloud link. So it's ibm.biz slash dataviz. So go on this link, and it'll take a few seconds to load. So just wait for it to load and create an account. So you can I already have a logged in, so it shows me that I have logged in. So if I want to, I'll have to log out, but I will not log out now. But the thing is, you can see at the back of my screen, you can see you just have to enter account information, that is your email ID. You have to create a password. uh, to verify your email, there would be a code that will be sent to your email. So just take that code from there and put it in this, and this would just click on create an account. Once it turns blue, this button should turn blue, and once it turns blue, your account, you click on this, and it should take you to an consent form. You just click on I agree, and then your account, then this page should open up, a page like this. So you can see the IBM Cloud Dashboard over here. So I'll just repeat the steps again. So you can go over to ibm.biz slash dataviz, and you can go onto this page and click on create. It should open the create an account page. So you can click enter your email ID, your password, just verify your email. A code would be sent to your email ID. Just copy paste it over here, and then once the blue create account button turns blue, click on that, and then next you just agree the terms and conditions, and your account would be ready. So then a page like this should open up. So once you're done with that, uh, we will we'll try to create a Watson Studio service. And so before we create, I'll just like to tell you what is a Watson Studio service. So Watson Studio service is an IBM's offering where you can create various data and AI projects using the features and facilities available over there. This makes it very easy to create projects and collaborate over teams across different geos, and you could use various assets already present in the service, like Jupyter notebooks. You could use data refinery. You could create dashboards, which we'll be doing today, and then you could use SPSS modular flow, and you could use various features. You could also use various frameworks like TensorFlow, Keras, or PyTorch, and all those frameworks in this. And this makes it very easy to collaborate within teams over different geos. And it's stored on cloud, so it can be accessed by anyone who has the rights to access at any given point. And the work is constantly updated, so you don't have to worry about saving your work. It's all stored as soon as you update something. So now to create a Watson Studio service, just go on the search bar and search for Watson Studio. So once you search a Watson Studio, if you haven't created a Watson Studio service, you should
Mridul,
have something in the, yeah, for us.
sorry for cutting you off. Can you please zoom in?
Yeah, sure. Sorry about this. I'll just zoom in a bit. It's better now, yeah?
I'm just waiting for it to get started. Yeah, looks better.
Yeah. So yeah, do you want me to repeat again?
No, I think that's fine. I just wanted to zoom in a bit.
Sure. All right. So you can go ahead, and the search bar, you can just search for Watson Studio. So you can, if you have a Watson Studio service already created, you would have, you'll have some resource results which we found, and you'll have to use that service because you can only create one Watson Studio Lite service. But if you haven't created, you can go on the catalog results and click on Watson Studio. So once you click on Watson Studio, uh, the Watson Studio service creation page should open up. So we'll just wait for it to load. Just give it a few seconds. Yeah. So once this page loads up, you wait for you wait for this page to load up. So you select the location as preferably Dallas, something in North America, and we just select that just to be on the safe side because you have to make sure the service is not under maintenance in that location. So Dallas is not under maintenance, so we can use the service. We just have to, this is just a small thing we need to make sure because then we would have to wait for it, the maintenance to get over to use the service. Because they're constantly updating with new features and they're trying to fix bugs so that the users can get more value from the service. So once you're done with that, you select the location, you click on the light plan. So you do not need to worry about putting in a credit card information because you see this numbers mentioned over here, the price mentioned over here. So you don't need to enter your credit card information at any point. You could just create on the light service, and that is sufficient for today's hands-on session. So it provides you free credits, free capacity unit hours, which renew on a monthly basis. So we have 50 capacity unit hours, so they'll renew on a monthly basis. So we just select the light plan. This is sufficient for a hands-on session today. And you scroll a bit down, and you can give your service a name. You can change the service name. So it is given a default name, Watson Studio -9U. That is given for me. It would be something else for you. So what we could do is we could go ahead and we could change the service name. So let's give it data viz. I'll just change the service name to data viz because our today's hands-on session is based on data visualization. And I'll just let the resource group be default, and you can click on create. So over here in the summary, you could see the location, the plan you've selected, the service name you have given, and the resource group. So this is basically that just summarizes what the options you have selected. And before going ahead, if you want to know more about Watson Studio service, you can click on about over here. You could see it summarizes really well what the features are, what it is about, and you could see these videos, and you can see how you could bring your products to for faster production on Watson Studio. You could easily deploy your models and your projects from Watson Studio. So there are some videos and resources over here. So you can go ahead and check it out if you're interested in knowing more about it. So let's go back to the create page. And once we have selected all this, the location is Dallas, the plan is light, and the service name we have changed according to what we wanted to change to. And we have selected resource group. You can click on create. So I'll just wait for it to create.
Mridul, can you zoom into 125%?
Yeah, sure.
You can do it. Yeah.
Better?
Yeah, looks good.
Yeah. So once you have created a service and you come to this page, you can again, you can see there's something called manage and there's something called plan. So let's head over to plan. So at any given point, you feel the plan you've selected is not sufficient for your requirements. You could always change the plan, and you could upgrade your plan for the same service. You do not create another service to change your plan. You can just always change the pricing plan just from the settings over here, and you could just save it once you change the plan. So once you select, you can just click on upgrade. But we do not require to change. So I would not be clicking on upgrade. So once you're done with that, you can head over back to manage. And once you come back to manage, you have some documentation available over here. So you can click on documentation, and you could see information about various tools, features, and you could also see some tutorials on how to perform some data and AI tasks. So if you're looking how it's done on IBM Watson Studio, you could just go on documentation. You can go ahead and you can check that documents out, and you can try a few things by yourself also to get familiarized with the service. And then you also have the gallery over here. If you click on this, you can check out some sample projects which are built on Watson Studio, then some sample notebooks and some sample data sets, which if you are looking to work on to create your own projects, if you're looking for some sample data sets, we have something over here. So you can go ahead, you can click on this, and you can check those projects out, the data sets and the notebooks, and you can try them yourself. So once you are done, once you have created the service and you have gone through whatever you want to go through, like the documentation and the gallery, you can click on Get Started. So now this should open another tab, and this will take a few seconds to load. So let's wait for it to load. Yeah. So we just wait for the yeah. So you can just enter the information over here, and email. Okay. Uh, so I'll just stop sharing my screen for a second, and I'll share back. I'll just enter the information. So you can do the same. You can just enter your information over here. I'll just share my screen again. So once you enter your information and uh, you click on continue, this it should go to the next thing. It just gives you this page where it loads the Watson Studio. It creates the project for you, and you go to IBM Watson Studio over here. So it's just clicking on going to IBM Watson Studio. So once you come to this page, I'll just give it a few more seconds for you to load this page. So I'll just wait here for a few seconds, and you can take a few more seconds to create the service and come to this page. I'll just hold for a while. Yeah. So I hope by now you have created the IBM Watson Studio service and you have come to this page. So over here you can see a welcome page which has which has a few links over here. So if you want to learn by example, so there are some examples as I mentioned, uh, which sample projects which are done already. So you can go ahead and you can check those out, because if you have something which is similar to that, you get an idea on how to proceed ahead, what the next step should be, and how these sample projects have taken the data set and try to solve the problem. So this gives you an idea into how you could also proceed ahead with the problem you have, which is similar to this use cases if present over there. Then you have, if you want to work with data, you want to understand how to prepare data, how you want to find insights, or you want to build models. You can click on create a project, which is what we're going to do now, and I'll be creating that just in a few minutes. And then if you want to add some additional services, if you require for your project, you can click on create a service, and you can select the service which you require. You can go ahead and you can create you know uh, you can create a service, and you can integrate it in your project and try to make your project even better, or try to get more insights, or create more better models using these services. So now so we have the recent projects listed over here. So you can click on new project to create a project, what is what you're going to do. And if you also want to proceed in a different manner, so if you want to see if you have an existing projects created, you can click on this navigation menu on the top. You can click on that. That's an hamburger menu, and you click on that, and you can see view all projects. So once you click on view all projects, it should load a page where all the existing projects you have created are visible over there. So you can create multiple projects, and you can work on different things using the same service. But as this is a I created a new account for this session, I do not have any existing project which I've created. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on new project, and which is what I would request you all to do. So click on new project, and you want to create an empty project. So you click on create an empty project, and this will take a few seconds to load. So yeah, so we'll just give it a few seconds to load. So now what we need to do is, firstly, before giving the project name, let's create a storage service. And we require, okay, I'll just zoom in the screen. Sorry. I hope it's better. I'll just give it a few seconds to load. If it's buffering. Yeah. So I've zoomed in. So I hope it's clear now.
Yep, it's
So
good.
yeah. So now, before we proceed ahead, we need to create a storage service where all the things we do, all the data we do, and the projects we create. Uh, you want me to zoom in more, a bit more? I could do that. Okay, let's do that. So yeah, so I've zoomed in a bit more. So so yeah, so over here we need to enter the project name. Like we need to if we can if you what project you're working on, we can give that name, and we can create a project over here. Then you can you have some options where you could write a description about the project on what you're working on. So this really helps give an idea on what the objective of the project is, and it really helps us understand help you document the project and keeps in a structured manner. So anytime you're sharing it with anyone, they can go ahead and they can refer back to this and they can understand what was done. So this creates a very, it helps you create a very project in a very organized manner, in a structured manner, so as to, it helps eases the collaboration with different teams also, not just your team, with other teams also. If they want to refer to your project, they can go ahead and they can read this and they can get an idea on what this project was focusing on. So you write a bit of description about this project. Then you can restrict who can be a collaborator and all, so that you want to make sure no one does makes changes to your project. And then you have to, before we proceed ahead, we need to create a storage service. So storage service is where whatever work we do today in this project and the data we do will be stored over there. So we need to create a cloud object storage service. And how we do that is we click on the add button. I click on the add button. So once I click on the add button, a page similar to what when we try to create the IBM Watson Studio service opens up. So we can select the plan as light again. Uh, then we proceed a bit down, we scroll a bit down. Then we can change the service name if you want to change. So let's give it, data viz. And resource group is default. If you want to add tags to the service, you can give that. So as you can identify this service was used for this particular project or this particular purpose. You could add, you could give it tags like that. Uh, and then once you're done with that, you can click on create. So again, over here, the region, we don't need to change it's global. So you don't need to change the region or anything. Plan we selected as light because that is sufficient for hands-on session today. And then the service name, what we have given, and the resource group. So we click on create. So once we click on create, it brings us back to the project page in IBM Watson Studio Service. And we click on refresh, the second step. So once you click on refresh, you can see the storage service has been identified, and this project has been connected to that object storage service, the cloud object storage service database. It has been connected to that object storage service. So now you can give a name to this project. So again, let's give data visualization on air pollution. Let's name this project. So that's the name I'm giving to my project. And once you give the name and you add the object storage service over here, you can click on create. This will take a few seconds to create, so you can take this time to create your service, and you can come to the same step as mine. You can open this page, and I'll wait for you to create the project and come to the step. So I'll give a few seconds. I'll pause for a few seconds. Yeah. So I hope you have created the the service, and you've created the project, and you've connected the object storage service. So once you do that, you'll come to this page which gives you an overview. So now this overview is basically, it just gives you the basic details about the project. So on the side, on the left hand side, we have the date created. It was created, that is today's date, May 19th, 2021. And we haven't given any description. So there's no description available. But if we gave, it would be available over here. And the bytes we have used in the object storage service for till now. And you can see the collaborators. This is just me for now. So I haven't added any collaborators. So there's only one. So it's only one collaborator for now. And on the right hand side, we have on the top, we have the assets which are created in this project. And then the number of collaborators, as I mentioned, it's only me, only one right now. I haven't added any collaborator. Uh, then the recent activity. So if there was any recent activity done on this project, so we just created the project and we haven't done anything. So there's no recent activity available. But if there's something is done, it could be seen over here. Next, we have a Markdown sheet over here. So those of you who are familiar with GitHub, so in GitHub repositories, we have a README document, which basically gives us the information about the project, the steps to do, how to utilize that project, and the various other details. So something similar could be done over here also. So you could create a document which documents your entire project, and this is done using a very standard Markdown syntax, which is very simple. So you can just click on this Markdown cheat sheet, and once you open this up, you can see the syntax available over here. uh, and you could use this. So if you want to change the title, the major headings, the subheadings, you have these various, you just need to add a hash key. If you want to if you decrease the level of headings, you can just increase the number of hashtags, and so on. So you could use this cheat sheet to document your project. So it's a very simple cheat sheet. You can go over through it and you can document your project, and you can write on all the details so that collaborators from your team and from different teams can always view this document and understand what the project is focusing on, and see the various steps to follow and what has been the work progress so far. So you can create a README document like this, and you have so this is about it on the overview page. Next, we have the assets. So let's go to the assets. This is where we'll be working mainly. So let's go to assets. So now in assets, you have nothing created so far. Now in data assets, it's where you create assets. So how do you create assets? Is you click on this blue button called Add to Project, and they should open this page for you. So you can choose the asset type you want to create. So you want to add data, you want to create a connection, you want to create connected data, or you want to create an auto AI experiment, you want to create a Jupyter notebook, you want to create a dashboard. So these various or data refinery flow, or you want to load a model from a file, you want to create your own model of flow, natural language classification. So you can go ahead and you can click on this assets, whatever you want to utilize, and create them, and you can do that. So if you want to upload a data set which you'll be utilizing today, so you can click on data, and you could upload the file. So once you do that, it comes to this window over here. And you could also access this by just clicking on the 0100 icon over here, find and add data. If you hover over it, it shows find and add data. So you can go over to this, click on this icon. It opens up this dialog box, and you can click on browse. So I'm just going to click on browse. So now I hope you have downloaded the GitHub repository by now. So we'll be using the data set from there. We'll be uploading the data set from there to this Watson to this project. So I'll just yeah, just a minute. So I'll just select the data set. So weather.csv, that is the file name. So you can click on open. So once you click on open, it's uploading the data set over here. So that CSV file which I showed you earlier, we are just uploading it into the project right now, so that we can utilize it to create our dashboard. So yeah, so once it's done, you can see over here, it appears under data assets. You have the CSV file which is uploaded. Type is here, created by, that's me, and the modification date. So that is the date and time right for now. And if you want to delete this data set, you can just click on this, and you can click on remove. So if you have uploaded something which you don't want it to be there, you can just select on this file over here, and you can click on remove, and this deletes the file from the project. So the next thing we want to do is we are going to create a dashboard from this data set. So we're going to click on add to project again, and in add to project, we're going to click on dashboard. So once you click on dashboard, this page should appear. So I'll just give you a few minutes. Take your time. You have uploaded the data set, and let's create a dashboard. So I'll just wait for a few seconds. So yeah. So I hope you have uploaded the data set from the GitHub repository which you downloaded earlier, and you've uploaded that data set into the project. And now we have this. You have created the dashboard. So you come to this blank page. So what's going to happen? So before we go ahead and create a dashboard, we need to create, associate a Cognos dashboard embedded service. So as you're using a Cognos dashboard, we'll need to create a service. Now, how we're going to do this is we're going to click on this blue link because I haven't connected any dashboard service. So we're going to click on associate for creating a new dashboard. Or you want? I'll just repeat it. Okay. So I'll click on cancel. Just wait for the page to load. So once you have created the Watson Studio service and you've created a project in that, and you have created the objects to the service, and you have created the project, and you come to this page in the assets section, you click on add to project. And once you click on add to project, you click on dashboard. You can see the dashboard written over here. So you just click on that. So I'll just click on dashboard. So once you click on dashboard, now I'll start again. So you need to associate a Cognos dashboard service. Fawaz explained us what is a Cognos dashboard service. So I'll not be going over through what the service is, but I'll show you how to associate a Cognos dashboard service with a dashboard in IBM Watson Studio project. So you click on this blue, it's a hyperlinked thing. So you need to click on this. So you click on associate a Cognos dashboard embedded service, and let's wait for this page to load. So let's click on new service. And once you click on new service, you'll have an IBM Cognos dashboard embedded service. It'll be over here. You need to click on that. So once you click on that, a page similar to when we were creating the objects to the service, the IBM Watson Studio service opens up. So we'll select the regions the same as the region we selected for our project, that is Dallas, and select a light plan because that is sufficient for our session today. And you go over and you can see the service name. So you can change the service name. So I'll just write database. So once you do that, you have the service. You have the uh, region and the plan and the service name like earlier over here. So you can click on create. And if you want to read more about the Cognos dashboard service, you can just click on about and you can go and see the various features available, the summary, and you can see the steps, the tutorials, how you can select the templates to create simplified dashboards. So let's go back to create section, and we have changed the name, we have selected the region, we have selected the pricing plan, and we'll click on create. So yeah, if you want me to repeat the step, do let me know. I'll repeat the step again for you. So that if you have missed it out, you can always I'll just repeat it for you so that you can create a service. So once you're done with that, you'll get this blue tick, green tick over here. It says IBM Cognos Dashboard Embedded Database created, and we go over here and go back to the dashboard page, dashboard creation page, and we click on reload. So once you reload, okay, so you need to click on, sorry, you need to click on associate. Uh, so I forgot to connect the service actually. So just close the tabs. Yeah, so you click on new service. So we have a service created. Database, you click on create. Okay, the service was created. So not just let me load it again. Mm, So just a minute. I'm not sure why it's not loading. So just let me refresh. It should actually load. I'm not sure what happened. So okay, yeah. So it appears over here. So I'll just zoom in again. So once you create the service on that page, you need to select it over here. I need to click on associate the service. And once you do that, you can come back to this page and reload. So it wasn't loading it for me. So once you have done that, you have a drop-down menu with the IBM Cognos dashboard you have created, the services. So we have created one, and we have the dashboard over here. So you click on that. So once you click on that, and let's give a dashboard a name. Uh, let's give dash dashboard for air pollution. So you have selected the Cognos you have selected the dash Cognos dashboard embedded service. You have given name to your dashboard, and you click on create. So this will take a few seconds to load. So let's wait for it to load. Uh, so over here, I'll just zoom out a bit for a second because this, just a second, I'll just zoom out a bit so that I can show you a better view of all the templates available. So we have multiple templates over here. So as I've shown you earlier, we have the uh, the dashboard over here, which I showed you the sample dashboard we'll be creating today. So you could see a layer. So you can see this. It's been structured. There are four halves. It's like four quadrants are there in this, in a rectangular shape to place the four graphs. So this is basically a template we would be creating. So you would need something like this to create, put multiple graphs in one page. So you have to select a template for that. So that's why you have multiple templates over here. So you have these templates over here, and you could select which one you want to use and which one you think is the best for your for your use case and for your graphs. So we'll just select this one, the four equal quadrants, and as we'll be creating four graphs, and we'll try to make sure we cover give them equal space so that they're visible, and you click on OK. So I'll just zoom in again. Yeah. So once you select the template you want to utilize, you come to this page over here. So this is where we'll be working and we'll be doing our work. So we'll be selecting our graphs and working on the data we have. So what we're going to do is first is you connect the data which we uploaded to this dashboard. So we have the selected. We click on the 0100 again. We click on plus, and we click on data assets. Yeah. So the CSV file we've already uploaded over here. So we just need to connect it to the dashboard. So you click on that and click on select, and we wait for it to load. So I'll just give a few seconds. You can take your time, try to connect the data set. I'll repeat the steps again for you if you have missed it out. So I'll just do that again. So once you come to this page, this is when you selected a template and you can place the graphs over here. You can go on this icon over here, 0100. If you hover over it, it'll say, find and add data sources. And you click on the plus sign over here, add a source. Then you click on data assets. Uh, then you click on this CSV file over here, which we have uploaded already. Uh, and once you're done with that, you should have the file displayed over here. And once you click on the file, uh, you'll have all the attributes in the file over here. It's all over here. So now we have uploaded, connected our data set to this dashboard, and we have all the attributes loaded over here. So we can go ahead and create a graph. So actually, I'll just zoom out a bit to give you a better view again. So you can see over here, you have these four halves over here. You have the data, you have the features over here from your data set, and if you click on the next icon over here, you have the various graphs which are available over here, various visualizations. Uh, you can select these visualizations depending on what you're trying to represent and what attributes you have. You can select them accordingly. You can play around. If you want, you can change the data, the graph at any point. I'll show you how it can be done. So what we're going to do is let's create the first graph. So let's create a simple pie graph, pie chart. Yeah. So so what? So we'll just select a pie chart. So how we do this is select the pie chart and we select. And if you want to equally space it on this quadrant over here, you can just uh, bring. If you hover over it, this thing it turns blue. So you can expand over here. If I take it to the next quadrant, it takes it'll expand in that quadrant. So it does that auto spacing for you on its own. So I just click on this and it will take this particular section of the template we have. And once we come over here, uh, now we want to represent what fields we want to select. So let's try to just try to take one simple field, and we see on what day the level of pollution was uh, less or more. So that for that we have the levels feature over here. So all you have to do is select the thing and drag and drop it in the segments. And once you do that, uh, s- you once you do that, you have to select the size. So the size in this would be on what no, si- what on what s- on what numerical basis you're trying to allocate the pies over here in a pie chart. So on what which pie would be bigger, which size would be bigger. So what we could do is just select the same attribute again and we'll drop it over here. And once we do that, our graph is created. So I'll just close this fields over here. And as the graph, you can see now it's a bit small. So what we could do is we could expand the graph. So once you expand the graph, you can see, what our graph looks like. So we can see the count we have. So you can see the count. So you can see it's so if I select just good. So on how many times was the pollution low? So I just select this. It'll highlight that section for me. If I want to select excellent, so it was 260 times. If I select slightly polluted, it was 108 times. Then if I medially polluted, so if I select that, it was 22 times. And if it's severely polluted, it was 4 times. So you can see the count over here, or even when you select the pie, if you hover over it, it shows you the level over here, the count. So now we have created a first graph, and we can go ahead and we can go back. So there are multiple things you could do with this graph now. So you have presented this graph. Now you want to change the colors. So the colors which came are automatic. So we could change these colors. So what you could do is go to properties, and uh, we could select properties, and we could select change the color palette. Uh, and let's select this palette 6. So once we do that, it changes the color for us. So the colors has changed, the color have changed, and we can change the colors according to our preference or what we think would look more visually attractive or aesthetic, depending on how we want to look design the dashboard. So that is done. So we have created our first graph. So we just dragged and dropped, and we see this is on basis of the levels, and we created the first graph. Now coming over to the second graph. Uh, so what we try to do is now in the second graph, we'll try to select the levels we have seen now. Most of the days it was the air pollution was less, and it was good. That is good, and we want to keep it that way, and we want to actually reduce it further. But what we have now is also really good. So now what we'll do is we'll try to compare this with the air quality index, the levels with the air quality index. So to understand what should be the air quality index, if it what was the air quality index if it was less polluted or more polluted. So what we could do is we can select a packed bubble graph from visualizations over here, and we could drag and drop it again over here. So now we have the graph over here. So uh, now we have the graph over here, and uh, we want to select which features we want to use for this graph. Which features are we going to represent using this graph? So what I'll do is I'll drag the level again for this graph as bubbles, and the size I would you know do it depending on the AQI, the air quality index, the size. So this takes. So now the thing is, if I expand the graph, you can see all of these are same color. I want to change the color depending on the air quality index. If the air quality index was low, it should be lighter color. If it was higher, it should be dark. So what I could do is I could drag AQI again, and I can drag and drop it under color. So once I do that, it will load the graph for me, and it'll change the color according to what uh, on the what was, if it was high, it was darker color. If it's low, it is lower color. So next, so the thing is right now, this, if you see, this is not giving us a, greater, like if you see the smaller, like if it was good or excellent, it's kind of very small, and understanding this from here. So what we'll do is we click on this, and you can modify the uh, parameters also over here. So you can click on this three dots over here next to the field, in the field section, and click on summarize. And once you click on summarize, you can see various options we have available over here. So it's average, sum, minimum, maximum, count, and count distinct, and automatic. It automatically sums the thing. So what we can do is we can select average. Let's see how it represents when we select average. So you see now it changes, and we can understand better. So if the air quality index is very 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 high, and the level is really high. So this is how it helps us understand how air quality index plays a role in the level of pollution. So this graph helps us understand, and this color is basically on the count. So we have put the AQ over here, and we have to see the number of counts we have. So this is basically sizing the or deciding the color for the graph on basis of that. And again, if you see, this color over here is a bit too dark, so it's not, I cannot read the text over here. So what I can do is I can click on top and go to properties. And once I select properties, I can change the palette. So let's go for something with lighter colors. So let's select this, brighter colors. And we can change the heat palette over here. So let's go for red. Or, even red is a bit too dark. So let's go for yellow. So yeah, you can see now this is something you can play around with. You can see which color looks best, or you can select green. So yeah, let's keep it green. So now you've created your second graph, and you change the colors. You have tried to understand with with two features. You have to try to play with this, and you understand how they correlate to each other. So we will collapse this graph to create a next graph. And before we collapse this graph and go to the next graph, let's say we want to change this graph. Though we are fine with this graph, you want to change this graph. You have for the same variables, you want to select another graph. So what you can do is you can select over here. It shows packed bubble, which is the graph you've selected, and you can go to all visualizations, and you can change the graph over here. So let's say I can select column here. So change this for me. So represent the same thing. I don't have to work over again, and it shares the same thing in terms of a column graph. But for now, we'll keep it as we want to keep it as a packed bubble one. So I'll just click on packed bubble again, and it changes that for me. It changes back to that. So let's say this is really useful. When you're playing with data, you're trying to play around with your data and try to understand which graph looks the best, which basically tells us a bit, gives us the insight which you're trying to save, which represents what our thoughts and the stats. So you can select the graph on basis of that. You can, with the same features, you can keep playing around with the various graphs, and you can see which basically tells the story which you're trying to tell over here. So next, let's try to create another graph, and we click on visualization here, and let's try to create a column graph this time. So we have a column graph over here. We select, we drag and drop it over here. So over here, what we're going to do is we're going to we're trying to correlate the level with the rain, and we're trying to we'll also try to bring in a third variable, which is pressure, and we see how these three features correlate. So what we'll do is we will create a bar graph. So we column graph, and we'll put the bars should represent the level. The bars represent the level, and the length could be the rain. So we could take the rain as that, and let's try. And the color should be, I think, we should, let's try to, differentiate on basis of pressure. So we have pressure over here, and we'll put this over here. So I'll just close this here so you can see the graph better. I'll expand the graph, and I hope you can see the graph now. So now, as you can see, the pressure over here is taken as sum, and the rain has taken as sum. So let's try to, we'll change this a bit. So let's try to take the average, because this is not, this is very, it's, the difference is too large and it's tough. The graph is not giving us the idea which we're trying to tell. So let's click on summarize again, and let's click on average, the rain average. So you can see the average rain on various levels of pollution. So if it's excellent, it's really high. If it's good, it's it is a bit less. So as the pollution increases, the level of rainfall also, average rainfall also decreases. And the pressure. So the pressure is taken as sum. So let's try to average it out to understand how much pressure is there on each levels and according to the rainfall. So let's click on average. So now when you select, you can see pressure is high when it's slightly polluted. The average pressure is high, and it is same when it's severely polluted and it's excellent. And for good and slightly polluted, it's the pressure is high, and the pressure is really low compared to others when it's medially polluted. So now, as you can see over here, the levels are not organized in the levels of these bars are not organized in the level of pollution. They're like, they have automatic. It's done in alphabetical order, and you want to change this order. So what you could do is go back to go on the side to the fields, go to the bars, click on three dots, and click on sort. And once you click on sort, click on custom. Once you click on custom, we can select the manner in which you want to, custom sort these levels. So first, I want it to be, excellent. Second, I want it to be, good. Third, I want it to be slightly polluted. And fourth, I want it to be medially polluted. And fifth, I want it to be severely polluted. So once you do that, you can click on apply. And it has arranged the order for you now. So it has arranged in the level of pollution. I've arranged the bars, and it has changed that for you. And it's, you just sort it out, and you can do that. You can do it as ascending or descending if you prefer, but I've done it on basis of the level of pollution over here. So once you're done with that, we can try to, play around a bit more with the features, with the other with how the graph looks. So we can go to properties, and we can, change the palette, heat palette, to purple, to heat palette 2. And we could also, try to play around with the appearance a bit. So we can change the fill color also. It's white now. We can make it, let's make it, change the color a bit to gray, and or we could change it to red, but it doesn't, it's too bright, it's too dark. So let's keep it a light color. You can also change the border color, and you could also, change the uh, position of the graph if you want to. But for us, our layout is fine, so we don't need to change that. And we can select these things, and we can also write show title. So let's say uh, we can give a title. So we are given this title over here, and we can change the title. So now we will give this title, comparison of average rainfall with average pressure and level of pollution. So this is the title I want to give to this graph. So now I can change. Uh, I can I can align this, layout. So I can make it center this, and I can do the various text. So in the text details, I could, uh, uh, align it in the middle. Then I can make it bold. I can make it italics if I want to. I can underline it. and I can change the font also. So there are various fonts available over here. So you can select, uh, let's select something. Uh, let's select this. So we'll select this font. We can reduce the size also. So we can reduce the size of the font. We can change the text color also. So we can make something. Let's select it. Blue. We can just make it blue. So you select and make it blue, and you can align it in the middle. And so that's how we change the color of the font, and we can add the title to the graph. We can also change the font size, the font, the text color. We can align it in the middle. You could also do these changes also in your graph. And I'll collapse this graph because this particular graph is ready, and we'll head over to the last graph. So our last graph is it's an area graph, and we're comparing the particulate matter uh, 2.5 and 10 against each other with the levels of pollution. So I'll go over to this dashboard. So let's go to visualization, and let's select area. We'll just unselect property so I can see the tab, and I'll drop the area graph over here. So once we have the area graph over here, we need to add the fields you want to represent on this graph. So what we'll do is we will put the x-axis as level, and some we want to compare two things in this area graph. So first thing, let's drag and drop the PM 2.5, the particulate matter with the levels of pollution, and particulate matter 10 with the also. So you want to compare both of them with each other and with the levels of pollution. So at different levels of pollution, what are their values? So I'll just close this section, and I'll expand the graph. So as you can see over here, we have the measure groups which are available over here. So this has taken the sum now. So let's try to change it to average again. Average will give us a better uh, insight on this. So let's select it to average, and the other one also as average. So summarize, and let's select it as average. So now you can see this graph. So it shows, in the levels of pollution, how it's increasing. So again, we could order this in the order of level of pollution. Right now it's taken in alphabetical order. So we click on the three dots. We can click on sort, custom, and we select excellent, good, slightly polluted, medially polluted, and severely polluted. So let's apply this. And yeah, so now you can see this particulate matter, as the level of pollution increases, keeps on increasing. As the average value is increasing, it keeps on increasing. Both of them are increasing, and they play what role they play in the pollution. So it's something you need to keep in mind. You need to really keep this level low. If you have to work, try to make sure these levels are low, because this will increase the air pollution, and this also decreases the air visibility. So particulate matter, they kind of decrease the visibility. So it also makes it tough for people while driving and doing the daily doing some chores over there. So as you can see over here, we have created the four graphs which we aim to create. So now the graphs are ready. So now if you want to present this dashboard to someone, we want to make it a bit more neater and with more details. So what we could do is, firstly, we can change the tab name over here. So you can right click on this, and you can click on edit, and you can see air pollution dashboard. So this is the air pollution dashboard which you have over here, which is displayed, which is done. And now let's play around with the properties of the with the dashboard itself, not just the graph, the entire dashboard. So we come over to these properties, and we select the color and theme. So we'll select the visual theme. Let's select it to be dark, because everyone's really fond of dark theme nowadays. So we'll select it to be dark, and this is accordingly it'll change the colors of the graph for you also. I'll try to make sure this colors are visible in this dark theme. So you can go ahead and you can do that, and you can also select a dark palette from over here if you want to change it to. So if you select, let's change the color palette, and uh, you can change the color palette, and you can keep this. I want to keep it dark, so it's fine. So I'll keep it like this, and yeah. So you could, if you want to create multiple tabs, multiple graphs, so you can create each tab over here. So you can create one more tab with different graphs, which would be which would be telling a different thing from this, and you could on the same data set, and you could show both those tabs. So our dashboard is ready. Now, how do we share this? So on the top over here, you can see download button. So you can download your dashboard, you can give it to them, and you can upload it, and the other person can upload it in their Watson Studio project. And a simpler method is we share the link. So we click on share the link, and we click on the share with anyone who has a link, and we copy this link, and we close. So once we do that, let's open this link over here and see if our graphs visible. A dashboard comes over here. So yeah, so you can see. So when we share it with someone, this is how the graph will look like. So I'll share this link with you. You can go ahead and you can try also accessing this dashboard any point if you want to, and you could also try to see how it looks while sharing. So you can also try it out. So I've shared the link in the chat. So go ahead and please feel free to try it out on how the dashboard this dashboard looks. And yeah, that is our hands-on session for today. So in this, we try to cover how we could take a data set related to air pollution, and we created a simple dashboard in just 40 to 50 minutes, and we're able to create a very attractive dashboard which could be shared across with just a simple link, and they can view and they can uh, understand what the data is trying to tell us, because this is better than sharing 900 records of data, because they will not be able to understand what the data is saying, because it's very tough to go over through it and understand and draw insights from it. But by just sharing a one-page dashboard, you can help the person understand what the graph is trying to tell. They can also play around with this graph a bit. So one second, I'll just try to zoom out. So yeah, so they could also expand this graph, and they could play around with this. So they can expand the dashboard. They can see. They can also change the various filters. This will not change what you have done, but will not change it for everyone else. So they could just try to understand by playing it over, playing with the graph over here. So they could just do small modifications and see the difference, or what difference does it make. So even the person you share, but the thing is, it does not affect the dashboard you have created. So that every other person who's viewing the link would see the original dashboard which you have shared. This for this person who would be creating these filters to sort out the things for himself. So you could check this out. So this is how the graph, the dashboard looks like, and we have created this using the IBM Watson Studio and the dashboard Cognos Dashboard service. So now I'll be handing it over back to Fawaz to conclude the session. So Fawaz, over to you.
Thank you so much, Mridul, for such an amazing hands-on. It was really interesting. I really didn't move from the screen at all. It was very interesting. Let me just open the presentation, and we will go ahead. All right. All right, so let's give you all a quick summary of what we've done till now. So we created interactive dashboards using Watson Studio and Cognos. Mridul also told you how to customize these dashboards based on color and actually interpret the data. We analyzed the air pollution using the air quality index and figured out where the air is actually polluted to the most. And the last part is basically, I have a typo there, but the last part is more about we checked where the air quality is actually very bad, and we can actually mitigate that. Now that we're done with the hands-on session, we are going to talk about a bit about Call for Code. So like I mentioned in the start, Call for Code is our yearly based challenge, and it's completely open source that addresses social and humanitarian issues. So why would you want to join Call for Code? First of all, it's for skill building. You can build up your skills. You can provide, and you can use tech for good. You can move your ideas to actions. And moreover, you'll also be joining a community of 400,000 plus developers, 179 nations, who have actually built more than 15,000 applications. What is the takeaway here? You get an award of around $200,000 for the Global Challenge winner, $10,000 for a University Challenge winner, and for Middle East and Africa, we also have a prize for $5,000 for the winner located in Middle East and Africa region. So this year we are following three main three main themes. Every year we have a different theme, and this year we are focusing on in clean water and sanitation, which is what we were working on today. That's what our use case was based on. We also have zero hunger. Many people die from hunger in today's age, and basically we can use technology to help grow more crops in areas on the edge of drought, or quickly distribute perishable from small stores to local homeless shelters. So it's a very interesting topic as well. And the last topic is responsible production and green consumption. So this is more based on energy efficiency, highlighting the carbon footprint of online purchases or anything of which is related to production, basically. In case you'd like to know more, you can go to the Call for Code main page, which is ibm.biz/call for code. You can check out the FAQs there. Also, we've developed some starter kits for you for zero hunger, clean water and sanitation, and responsible production and green consumption for you to get started. In case you have more questions, you can join us on our office hours. They're hosted every Monday, 2 to 3 p.m. GST, Dubai time. And the Crowdcast link is there. You can always join us there, and we'll be more than happy to answer your questions. You can also join a Slack forum or or a forum with different developers in case you would like to build a team. Excuse me. And you can get notified about our up-to-date Call for Code events at meetup.com/IBM Cloud MEA. And you can also check out our Crowdcast link, which is crowdcast.io/IBM developer. Last but not least, I'd like to also inform you that we have a digital developer conference coming up, which is focusing on data and AI, and the conference begins on June 28th. We have a lot of sessions towards data and AI, and we also have regional events as well. So stay tuned and do register for the event by going to ibm.biz/devcon-AI, and on-demand replays will be also available after the event. Some of the useful links here, I will be pasting them in the chat, and you can also go. You can check out the Get Started Here link in case you'd like to go for the hands-on lab. It's also there. Do check out different code patterns on developer.ibm.com, and the replay for this workshop will be available on the same link which you're watching this webcast on right now. Thank you so much, and please do make sure you do answer the survey. The barcode is on the right side of the screen. There's also a link. Mridul will also post the link there, and do let us know how we did. My name is Fawaz Siddiqi, and with me I had Mridul Bhandari. It was a pleasure presenting to you all. Hope you all have a nice day today. Thank you. I believe there are some questions. Okay. So let me just have a look at that. Just highlight the payment. Okay, so we have a question. Personal payment made for. So when it comes to this, there are two services which would be liable to this. So you will be marking yourself as business terms as well, because you can see that the format is basically. Format changes, but the information remains the same. You can actually use either Watson Discovery or even Watson Knowledge Catalog to build your data set, okay? Or you can use Watson Discovery to actually pull out the data and actually convert it into a structured manner. But for this type of data, I would suggest going for WKC to create a catalog for your data. I hope I answered your question, Kojo. All right, sounds good. All right, if anyone else has any questions, Feel free to ask them. Right. I don't think we have any questions. So